Good evening and welcome to your actual weekend pod here on Four Lads Had a Dream. My name's Andrew. Sorry if you're getting sick of me. I'm joined tonight by two of my other very favourite podders, Kenny and young Andrew as well. Uh, Obviously, we're here to discuss the breaking news. Well, not even breaking news anymore. It's news now. It was breaking news earlier when I did a pod with Stevie. Now it's just news. Um, Andrew, your initial reaction to having this takeover finally confirmed?
I looked at the statement. I thought, "Wow, what a great statement!" A lot of money. Yeah, I think we're all leaning to the US. I'm enjoying the stars and stripes behind me tonight. Uh, I'm just buzzing. Absolutely on cloud nine. Um, we knew it was. We all kind of knew it was just a matter of time. We've known it for weeks now, but seeing the announcement, it felt like the kind of rally cry is this is where we're going now. Let's get behind the team when it comes together, and the club now as a whole gets us back feeling positive, because the club's given us a lot of things to be feeling negative about this season. Let's not lie. But yeah, a nice change to be discussing good things for once, Andrew.
No, for sure. And Kenny, I'm guessing just by your reaction when I came onto the stream tonight that you're quite happy about this as well.
I am, mate. I am. Very much so. What I would say, mate, is right off the cuff, I've always said that you're my favourite American, and you're not anymore. Going with the amount of Americans we have on our board, I think you're about my 14th favourite American today. And I'm just delighted it's over the line, mate. As we've been discussing all week, we knew it was coming, we knew it was going to happen. And actually, my son's just sent me a video of some absolute moon unit on Clyde Super Scoreboard from across the city. And to say that they're not bothered, they're lying.
Well, no, I mean, Kenny, we know that they're not bothered because they told us for weeks on end how much they weren't bothered by it. So much so that it was fake. It wasn't even real. It was a lie. And even if it was true, they don't care about it because it doesn't matter. Um, and they got into like religious aspects as well of the prospective owners, and you're like, lads, we're excited because there's money coming into the club. Like that's the important thing for us. Don't really care about anything else. Um, First of all, before we dive into the news, because I want to go through the statement and the letter from the new owners. I want to thank all the members of the channel in particular. There's over 350 of you now. We got some guest memberships right at the start there from Raymond Clark, five that Raymond's given there. We cannot thank you guys enough for the support. Said it earlier today when I was on with Stevie, and I'm saying it again now. It's magnificent the amount of support you guys are showing us. Closing in on 7,200 subscribers as well on the YouTube channel. You guys are smashing it, and we can't thank you enough. Helps us grow, helps us do things, and it's means the world to us. So thank you so much. Now we're in red, white, and blue because Kenny pointed it out 2 seconds before we started that it would make sense, and I'm not one if not a slave to doing stuff just for the bit. So yes, here we are. The Americans are here, and a couple of highlights of the key people I think from this. So Andrew Kavanagh, who's going to be the new chairman. He's an entrepreneur. He's made a lot of money in the American healthcare industry. And if you know anything about the American healthcare industry, you know that that's going to make you loads of money. You can debate the merits of that, whether it's good or bad, but you cannot deny that it's profitable. So he's been a lifelong football fan. Obviously, we've got the involvement with Leeds as well. He has made frequent trips to Glasgow, and his permanent residence is in Pennsylvania with his family. He has a track record of developing talent by empowering the right people in the right roles to drive results. We talked about this earlier today, but all these guys have got strong business backgrounds and an eye for talent. And that's the most important thing for me, Andrew, is that these are not yahoos, these are not guys off the street. These are serious business people who have got strong professional backgrounds, and they're here to do business.
Yeah, I think the important thing about that is these are strong businessmen, but to run a football club, you need football men in there, and you've got a track record of doing it at Leeds. It's the knowing the right people for the right, job roles. And I think, as we've seen, it's worked at Leeds. I think we I think we have a lot of gaps in the hierarchy. I think if you're looking at the teams channels for the Rangers at the moment, there's a lot of vacancies in the hierarchy. So you're gonna need people to fill in these. So these guys will know exactly who they want to put in these places. And that's exactly what we need. We need, fresh. We've talked about fresh investment, but we need fresh ideas from individuals as to where they see this club going. And I think if there's an alignment between Kavanagh and Marathi and all the guys they're bringing in to fill out these roles, then Rangers will be going in the right direction.
Yeah, completely. And yeah, I mean, you can say the same thing about Parag Marath as well, can he? Obviously, he's going to be known to English football because he's the Leeds United chairman. He's done that for 2 seasons now and has taken them into the Premier League as chairman. His sports career was with the 49ers. He's the president of the 49ers Enterprises and the executive VP of football operations as well. I'm not totally sure if that's football or soccer, but it's, he's still a significant person within that organization and splits his time between Glasgow, Leeds, and the San Francisco Bay Area. And that is a fairly roller coaster mix of places to be tripping between there, Kenny. It's, again, a significant business person. He's obviously trusted significantly because of his position within Leeds, and his involvement here as well means that we do have someone who's got a good footballing background here as well.
Indeed. And listen, the worst case scenario that we have at this minute in time, as of today, is that we have people that know how to run a football club running a football club now. That's the worst case scenario that we can have. It's the best scenario for across the city, is that they keep talking about all these things. They've been doing it all day, and I've found it incredibly funny because that is the bottom line, and the worst case scenario for us is that we have got people that know how to run sports organisations and sports clubs, and they do it very, very well. And I want to see. I'm delighted that Marathi's on our board. He's the vice chairman. I'm absolutely delighted about that because he seems such a driven guy. Anything that I've heard or seen from him, this guy knows what he knows what he's doing, and he knows what he knows what he wants to do. And going from everything that's been said and everything that I've heard today, Andrew, these guys are driven, and they're driven by success. And I'm just so excited about this today because, and I don't want to talk about the wealth of it and stuff like that, but I am going to for a second, where, my son pointed it out to me today that these are the wealthiest owners that he's ever had. They're the wealthiest and most successful owners in my lifetime. And if they can bring their expertise, which is exactly what they, in the statement that they or one of the statements that has been released today, that's what they're going to tap into, the success that they've had over the years, and they're going to use and help us with that. And that's where I am really, really excited about it, mate. I just can't wait to get on with it. Already, I'm just absolutely flying with excitement about it. I just want to see what their plans are, and I know we're not going to get long-term plans, but even just short to middle term, what are we going to see from this? Because they're not coming here to play second fiddle, mate. They're not coming here to be bit part players. They're not going to be unsuccessful. They are here to win, and they're here to make money, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, obviously it is early days. These guys have been in charge for about 8 hours, so it's probably unfair to expect them to have fixed everything quite yet. I mean, it's us, so we obviously still expect them to be, making strong progress on it already. But It is significant, not least the changes to the board we've discussed. Kavanagh sitting as chairman and Marath coming in as vice chairman. We know that there have been changes to some of the existing board members as well coming out, and there are some new names on the board as well. Eugene Schnur, Andrew Clayton, and Mark Tabor coming in as well as part of the investment group. Obviously, we want to thank the guys who have stepped down from the boards, but I think there's a recognition that it was time for a change, Andrew. That the current board, or the previous board, as we should say, now had taken Rangers as far as they could, and this is a real shot in the arm for us. It gives us more of a financial platform to build on and to go further, and it keeps things exciting as well. We stressed this in the pods that we did earlier today, me and Stevie. This initial £20 million investment, this isn't to buy shares or anything else. This is money into the club, 20 million quid. That's on top of everything else that we were planning to spend this summer already. And it's not the only money that these guys are planning to put into the club. This is an initial investment. This is the start of it. And the fact that these guys have stumped up not only this 20 million, but also probably around 75 million quid to buy shares from the existing shareholders as well. There's nearly £100 million they've committed already to Rangers. I don't think they're going to be in the position where they'll go, that'll do. I think they're here and motivated to make things happen. That's going to come through spending money, but that is the plan. And we've got to be excited for what that means going forward.
I said it before in the pod, and I think, at times you can laugh it off and go, it's quite far-fetched. But when you look at the Europa League final this year and the two teams that contested it, yes, you'll have a pathway to the later rounds of qualifying for the Champions League through winning the league. But assuming it doesn't change, which is the main thing, the Europa League, if you win it, offers a path straight into the Champions League. We came close. With Seville, I know it hurts, but you've got guys who are coming in that are, as much money as they've got, they've also equal it in ambition. These guys are going to want to push the boundaries, challenge on all fronts. They've said, we want to get back to winning things. The league, that's what we want. But in these early stages, like we've seen us advance to the later rounds with some poor teams, and that's no disrespect to players who have been in those teams. This season we were playing the Wains at Old Trafford, and we almost got a point. If Butland doesn't throw it in his net and Jeffrey looks over his shoulder, that's how close we were. We put on a good run, and we made Ibrox a fortress in Europe with a wee bit of investment. That's 20 million, regardless of how much that goes into player sales or supplementing it with player purchasing and sales. It's about having the right picks coming in. We've seen across the city £11 million at the rumour for Arne Engels. You've picked up a Nicholas Raskin for best part of £3 million when he came to Rangers. Taking some time to develop. I think there's more factors in play as to why it took so long, to be perfectly honest. Managerial changes and injuries and mismanagement and so on. But these are the pickups you want to make. £20 million, it depends on what you do with it. Under the previous board's stewardship, I don't think it gets invested in the right way, based off of previous experience. You maybe have one good signing in Matondo, but then you supplement it with a Ben Davies and a Tom Lawrence in the same window. It's about hitting more than missing. And I think if you get the right people to find these picks, which I think we do, we're going to have, the full resources of the 49ers, which is from what I've heard from Marathi and the way he used to work with analytics back in the day, as he likes to do. He is very analytical, which that's where modern football is heading. Finding these gems in these underrated leagues. I mean, the whole thing about, Hamza, when he came in last season, it was like, in terms of chances taken or something like that, he was in the top 5 of European strikers under the age of 22. And only at the top of that list was Joshua Zirkzee, who Man United then spent, £60 million on, and we get Hamza for best part £2 million, something like that. These are the picks that we want to be utilising. That's how you speed run this kind of major investment, because the more you sell, the more you can then spend on your next players in, and that becomes, wheeling and dealing with some nice amount of money. Like you're playing the high tables in Vegas. But I think the people in charge now will make the most of the resources they have, which is a lot, and that only lead to better development of players. playing the red, white, and blue, and also players developing to then play for the red, white, and blue.
Absolutely, and yeah, it's key to see that it's professionalism in terms of the structure. We've probably, as an organisation, not been the best at staying with the times, and it's Rangers, Kenny. We're always going to be proud of our history, but there are aspects of the club that could be run better. And these guys are coming in with a view to make this more professional, to make this a 21st century football club, and I think that's really promising because, as Andrew pointed out, we've spent relatively intelligently in the past few years, and we've spent poorly as well. Let's be clear. But some of the best signings that we've made have been the cheap ones, or even the free ones. And so we know that there are gems out there, and you don't have to break the bank. And it's not a case of now we have loads of money. Now we'll just, go to the largesse of the Murray era, and we can just, for every £1 you spend, we'll spend 20 or something insane like that. It's all about, spending smart. And I think, if we've got the right people and the right analytics in place, I think we're in a position to do that. I think it's worth highlighting before we, as we move on. Obviously, the structure of the club's going to change. The squad is going to change, and we can expect to see some of those changes coming forward. But today, obviously, it's a day to maybe release some of the bad news along with the good news. We've got a list of youth players who are going to be leading the club. So Lewis Budonakis, Jay Hogarth, Jacob Bazikas, Jack Harkness, Kristen Webster, Leighton Grant, Kerr Robertson, Darren McAnally, Grant Leach, and Harry Weir are all moving on. There are also 3 players who had features at the first team level: Adam Devine, Cole McKinnon, and Archie Stevens. So it's never easy when that happens, Kenny, but I think a lot of this is going to be down to the changes that are happening with the academy. And again, I think you would see in a smarter organisation that the plan would be to get that academy really delivering players through for us. So really starting to show first team players coming through that, and seeing players who can go from the academy into the first team and staying in the first team.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always sad, to see the young kids released. But at the same time, we do it every year. We've been doing this for years. We release a dozen or so every single year. And I wish every single one of them all the best in their careers, Andrew. But you're absolutely spot on when you say that it is time for us to start building the infrastructure of our club, and the youth system, the youth academy is very much part of that, where what you need to see is Rangers producing their own players and being capable of finding a pathway for them into our first team. Now, I know they're going to change it. They're going to kind of prioritise the under-18s from here on, aren't they? And they're going to train a lot with the first team. And look, I think there's going to be so many changes within the football club. I would just look at today and kind of take this on just very matter-of-factly, if you like, that today we get the announcement, you get the board, replacements. You get told that the director of football is coming in on Monday. You're getting hinted that the football manager or the first team coach isn't far away. And all of a sudden you think, well, that seems like the correct way to do it instead of what we've been doing for the last few years. And it instantly sets me, more at ease with the fact that these guys have a strategy, they have a plan, and obviously things will change as they get their heads right under the bonnet and they actually start to see exactly where we're going right or wrong, and things will happen. But for me, it is all about making sure that the business side of things is run properly and the football side of things is run properly. And as you say, our youth development success rate is pretty appalling. I mean, it is, and it's been appalling for a long, long time. And I said this a week or so ago, Andrew, about it, that when I was a younger man, when I was young Andrew's age kind of thing, we had a real success story at this, where we would be able to we'd find a pathway for young boys to get into our first team squad, getting game time, plenty of it. And even if they weren't capable of sustaining the Rangers' career, we could sell them for 3, 4, 500,000, 600,000 quid all the time. And that all racks up. And it's stuff like that that we really do need to learn how to do again. And yeah, as I say, good luck to all the young boys. That's what I would say. I hope they find good careers in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you look at the SPFL and you can see that our legacy as academy is mostly developing players for other teams. It does set you up nicely, and it does give you a good platform to go and work on it. And the Liam Kelly dream is there. You can always come through, go, and you can come back and look like a first choice keeper. So our thoughts go out to all of them. We want to see them go on to successful things, and it's not end of the road as far as Rangers are concerned. There's always a route back. One question I did want to highlight from the chat from Coco Beware earlier today. I think his question is, over time, do you think the new owners will increase their ownership like they did with Leeds? My understanding is that's the plan, that they will ultimately go for 100% ownership. The 51% just gives them overall control of the club for now. But my understanding is that in time, they'll look to take it fully private, get 100% ownership of the club. But again, that's comes down to some of the shareholders being willing to sell as well. The Club 1872 have obviously got their own stakeholding, which is, I think, is just under 5%, and all the other individual shareholders as well, Andrew, will all have their own views. It's a case of them being willing to sell, but certainly I don't think they're going to stay at 51%. I think the plan is to grow that, and there will likely be share issues and other kind of stock offerings down the line as well, which will increase their percentages and sort of minimize the others if it's not taken up. So it's, as we said, this 20 million quid that's been talked about so far, that's the initial investment, but it's not the end of the investment, Andrew.
Oh no, I think that now they've got that majority stake, you're going to only see it grow from here on in. We'll see what the financial year's like for Rangers, obviously, with player sales potentially boosting, the immediate, transfer kitty, so to speak. There was already funds there by all accounts that were allocated for the summer window before this investment amount was confirmed. So that kind of is your first kind of boost that they're going to give us. The first shot in the arm, as a lot of people have been quoting today. But I think there'll also be investment into, as we've mentioned, the background. I think there'll be more kind of, refurbishment across the stadium, training centres and so on. I think there was another pitch or something being rumoured to be added to the training centre. Just these changes that, you might not see when you're going to the match, every other Saturday, but you'll probably never know how effective it is for the players in the long run to be brought up through the academy for some of these players, or for just the day-to-day training and we run the club from Rangers Training Centre. I think it's once you kind of come down from Clyde 9, because I'm still there at the moment, we really start to open up all the avenues in which these resources and it's just the revenue that, well, the finance, the capital, as I've said, they're throwing into the club can be used for. And I think we've got a pretty low bar at the moment, so any investment is a plus. And if we're getting by with the lowest bar, what can we be like when the bar has risen? Because as we said before, that is the ambition, and the ambition is to be state of the art. I think we best in class, to throw back to the good old interview, just to forget where you came from, lads. This is what we had. But I think we will really start to act on those words.
No, and I mean, I made the point earlier today, Andrew, that 13 years ago was Rangers at hopefully the lowest possible ebb we'll ever have as a club. To go from there to now with a European final along the way, it shows how quickly things can change in football, and that's without this level of investment, this kind of rocket fuel that you can add to the mix there, Kenny. It's worth talking about what the immediate next steps are. I think, as the new board have said, their number one priority right now is getting a manager lined up. We touched on it the other night that while it looks like David Angelotti is the front runner for that, Russell Martin's name is still getting linked as well. We don't know anything. It's us. We pass on, all the stuff that Stevie's telling us. He's telling us bugger all. So we don't know what's going on either, unfortunately. But I would expect that there will be an announcement next week, given that this board are looking to get up and running quickly, and that Farewell will be coming in as well. And I think once we have the new board in place, we have the new manager in place, we're going to be coming back for pre-season in less than a month now, like 25 days or something like that. So once these things start happening, we start ramping back up towards getting started again, because 52 days until our first match back, our Champions League qualifier. It's going to come quicker than than we think. It's going to take a while. Unfortunately, it's going to be us. We're going to be podding every day about it, but we're going to get there soon. And what this is an exciting new chapter for us going forward.
Yeah, and the thing I would say is that the announcement today, new board today, first working day back is the new sporting director. You would allow him to take the credit and responsibility, if you like, for appointing a new manager, because he'll have had a massive say in the proceedings, whoever the manager is going to be. And you're right, nobody knows. And going with what some of the stuff I heard today, don't believe a word that anybody's saying. That's all I'm going to say to you, because nobody knows. And I mean nobody, apparently. So this is what we need to see, Andrew. For all that, I'm all a little bit of jest. The simple fact is that, for this to work for the 49ers and Andrew Kavanagh, we've got to be successful. We have to win. We have to win trophies. We have to win the league. We have to get to the status where we're a Champions League club. And all these things, although we are not the most patient of supports, we have to be patient with this. I know, but we have to be patient, and we have to make sure that we put our trust in the new regime, and that they can get this right. And going with what they've done at Leeds, where they, on the face of it, what they appeared to do was sell a lot of their best players and replace with cheaper replacements. Effectively, they became a better team, and a much better team. And much to I believe Leeds United's supports kind of confusion, they couldn't understand who's this guy. We've never heard of him. Blah blah blah. And they turn up, and he's a cracking player. And we just have to trust this process. But what I would say is that we need good players. That's exactly where we're at. I trust them to get the right manager. Whether they do or not, it's always a risk. We know that, but we need to put our trust in them. It's the recruitment that's key, though, Andrew. It really is. That recruitment has to be nailed on, and you can't get every single one of them right. But we need a high ratio or a high percentage of successes over the next 2 and 3 windows, because we've had far too many misses rather than hits at recruitment. And that's where I'm at with it. That I do feel that, if the 20 million, which we believe the majority of that going, I read Chris Jack, and they were saying basically the majority of that's all going into the first team squad, and that is effectively just welded on to our transfer kitty for this summer. And well, when I say the transfer kit, it's the finance for it, if you like, and that's exciting, because all it's going to take is maybe one big sale and the 4, 5, 6 smaller sales that we expect to get, and all of a sudden you've got a good proper wedge of cash to turn around and actually build a decent squad of players that can go and do what we want them to do and what we need to see them doing. And that's kind of where I'm at with it, mate. When you actually just check it all out, the way they're going through the process of the takeover, and it just seems all of a sudden it's going from A to B to C to D, which in truth we've not seen for years. We haven't. It's been all to cock for many, many years at Rangers. So I'm hoping that they get this all right, mate.
I mean, what we're looking for is a return. Well, I wouldn't even say a return. Having a good baseline where it doesn't feel like every summer we're having to do a rebuild again. We're having to get rid of a whole bunch of players because we've decided they're useless and starting over. Because that's what it's felt like the past 3-4 seasons. The fact that these guys are coming in with a clear plan, they are looking to develop this team and make Rangers better again. We want to see that happening on the field and off the field as well. But to be honest, and as Kenny, you say, the spend needs to be on that first team, because that's going to be the quickest way that we get more money into the club. When we've got a Rangers that are winning cups, winning titles, competing in the Champions League and competing at those high levels, that's going to be where the investment comes from. And that's what these guys are looking for. They are businessmen. They are going to be looking for a return on investment. Prices are going to go up for stuff around the stadium. But if we see that then translate into success on the pitch, I don't think you'll have too many people complaining, Andrew.
I think we've seen the most negative football, I feel, in the last 4 months for a long time. With everything that was going on in the takeover, you could kind of still be angry about it, but there was nobody at the front doors. I think we kind of managed to stave that off with the molecules of hope that was coming our way once the season had finally finished, and we're reached that now. I think it's no surprise once you've a team that's winning games and playing nice football, all the little worries and niggles and the day-to-day, or my pie's another quid up, start to slowly not be as big of an issue. There's still this, obviously, the pricing in football is what it is. Rangers have, well, we like money. We maybe don't use it in the best way, but previously, it's only the way it's going. Football being a business nowadays, but we just want to see success and everything that comes along with that. With having a contingency plan for this manager maybe moving on after being successful, having plans in place and the right people that have an eye on where we need to be 4 or 5 years' time, as a playing staff, as a non-playing staff, as the operation of the footballing operation, and as a business. Just having an idea of where we are at the moment, where we can be in the future, and how do we get there. And these questions may have been asked at the previous board, and I think they probably threw the clipboard against the wall, and then set the clipboard on fire, and then stamped on the clipboard, and then walked out the room, because that's the way we were on previously. But I think we've got the right minds that can make it happen. So all systems go.
Yeah, and to be honest, mate, it's about having just that optimism around the club now. We can only look at what we had last summer when we're going into a transfer window with Phil Clement. Not a lot of excitement because we didn't necessarily think he was the right guy for the job. Willing to be proven wrong, of course, and we know how that turned out. And this summer, instead, we've got almost a blank slate, if you like. And it's a blank slate with a lot of resources behind it to paint a nice picture for us. So here's hoping that we start seeing some good things happening. AGM's coming up, as Raymond says, and that'll be interesting. We'll have a lot of this stuff confirmed. Hopefully we'll have a new manager by that point as well, and we can start talking about some of the plans for the squad and for the team going forward. But we'll keep you all up to date as much as we can 2,000 of you tuning in on a Friday night just to listen to us ramble on and basically just get excited about things happening. 8,000 folk tuned in over their lunch breaks to see me and Stevie reacting to this. So that's nearly 10,000 folk who have given up time out their day to check out Four Lads today, and that's ridiculous. We said it before, we'll say it again, keep saying it. The audience are the reason why we keep doing this, lads. So we cannot thank you guys enough. The folk who have joined as members as well, over 350 of you now. It's been huge for us. It helps us grow. It really does mean that we can go to the club and say, we've got a backing, we've got, an audience. And that helps us enormously when we're pitching for sponsors. And all of that just helps put money back into the club as well. So, said it before, but I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. Thank you, everyone out there. Even if you're just tuning in, liking, sharing, and subscribing, all for free, that's massive for us as well. So we thank you so much for that. It has been lovely to talk to you tonight, Kenny and Andrew. We are getting to talk about fun things for Rangers, which is unusual. Long may it continue, quite frankly. We always say that we want to come on and be positive, Andrew, but today we really did get to do that a couple of times today. And so thank you, mate. And thanks again for dropping in and hanging out.
I mean, I do need to reiterate, see, when we were on and we were negative, we were trying to be positive. We really, really were. We weren't phoning it in. We were honestly trying to toe the line and try not be as bleak as we really could have been at times. But I'm happy that we've probably are steering. We've made the first big turn on the steering wheel back into the right direction, and it's just going to be a case of, as you said, Monday will be a big one with the first day for the sporting director coming in, and then obviously manager won't be too far behind that by all estimations, and then from there you're going to have the transfer talk ramp back up again. Transfer talk obviously died down recently with all the takeover ramping back up, so that'll kick back into high gear, linked with 8 billion players a day, probably Michy Batshuayi again for the 8th year in a row, maybe Vladimir Weiss back, who knows, but the transfer talk will be the next big point. So I'm looking forward to that.
No, me here as well, mate. And Kenny, my friend, we've gone through plenty with Rangers, and roller coaster's not done yet, but looking forward to the next bits, man.
Yeah, it's been a momentous day for us, isn't it? And it's one of those things, mate, that you and I have potted for a long time together, and it's been one of the better days, isn't it? Let's not kid on. By the way, I want to tell you, you were talking about the numbers on this afternoon's. There's been another 7,000 watched that since. It's been crazy. And look, all we're here for is to give the content that people want to see. And this has just been manna from heaven for me today. It's been great. It's something that I've called for a few years, mate. I've had my fill of the mistakes over the years, kind of done with them. Let's look to a new day, a new era. And listen, with the expertise the 49ers have and the commitment that they look to want to show, I'll put it this way, mate. This is a damn sight easier league to win than the Championship, and they've just won that. And it is, and I am very excited for our future. It's something, as I say, I've wanted for a long time, and yeah, it's been a great day. And thanks for having me on, Andrew. And cheers, Andrew. It's been good.
Always a pleasure, mate. And yeah, folks, some other lucky people will be back with you over the weekend. Stevie, Cheryl, and Davey, I believe, will be doing another pod tomorrow afternoon. But I'm going to go off and enjoy my weekend. And I've enjoyed today. I've had a lovely day, and I hope we've got many more good days to come in the future. Thanks again to everyone for joining us. We cannot thank you enough. Stay tuned for the end credits as well, the nicely revised end credits, which now detail all of our members. already hopelessly out of date the second I finished rendering the video, but it's there. And yeah, folks, it's been amazing. We can't thank you enough. Stay tuned, stay subscribed, and we'll keep you up to date with everything that's going on. There's going to be plenty of news coming out of Ibrox over the next days, weeks, and months. Thank you again, folks. Until we talk to you again, bye for now.
The Four Lads podcast is sponsored by Rhino Express, Clydeview Joinery, Athol Industrial Solutions Limited, and CSD Air Conditioning, in partnership with Black Rooster and Art of Gold. Thank you for listening to or watching the podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show.